Now, he's told you about the vision and what NECAN has in store, and our next speaker is going to share why that is going to happen for each one of us. He's here to give some validation to what's out there. And Curtis Bennett, many of you have heard him. Each time he gives us great information. He's been in his business for 28 years. He's internationally known. He is an independent consultant. He does not work for NECAN. He is not directed by NECAN. He does his thing, and as many of you know, he set out to make sure that NECAN didn't do his thing, and their thing, and he's going to tell us a little bit about that. He is the foremost authority on infrared imaging, and he's going to tell his story. Ladies and gentlemen, Curtis Bennett.
It's just not good for your health. My NECAN adventure started with this. Is that lady that I went to visit, and the NECAN consultant came to the door. She said, "Would you be able to see the differences?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Would you like to?" And I said, "I'd love to," because I said, I just think that these guys wouldn't design a proper product. And I have to tell you guys that I dug in over a couple of years, and quite frankly, you just floored me with what you did, because they talk about cellular voltages. You can't have cellular voltages without magnetism. You heard Anthony Beauvais talk about inductance and capacitance. Inductance is how hard a cell's working and the workload that it's under. Capacitance is a stored charge to prop up that cellular voltage. If you did that with a higher Gauss magnetic field, you might hurt somebody. The idea that yours is a low Gauss uniform magnetic field makes it absolutely applicable. And I can't begin to tell you how humbling it is for me to have conversations with medical professionals where they've called me and said, "Is NECAN all that?" And I said, it shocks the heck out of me to tell you they're that and that much more. I said, these guys have got products that are applicable to the world because of these toxicity issues. And I mean that very much, because when I talked about this toxicity issue, here are these doctors panicking saying there was a 100% toxicity ratio with kids and babies. Well, when they said they don't have an immune system, they can't protect themselves, and kids don't have cancer at 10, they've had it for 10 years and 9 months. He said, "What, Curtis, do you think is going to work in detoxing people?" And I said, "You are never going to believe this." I said, "But this starts with NECAN water." And the reason it starts with NECAN water is your body, you've heard about Weintraub getting an average of 75% more nerve conduction as a result of using your mag steps. That is huge. Anybody with a technical background, what does 75% more conduction mean to a circuit? It's a lot of information. Well, that circuit is made out of water. That's that process. So when people are famously dehydrated, you've got these toxins stuck in you. You're depriving your cells of the ability to work. You've actually got, I believe this is amazing, when a doctor said to me, he said, "Curtis, cells have electromagnetic switches. So when toxins come along, these switches will close. And the toxins will slide through like they're supposed to and come out of your body." And I said, what's amazing about that is, I said, those electromagnetic switches are going to work better with a low Gauss magnetic influence because of magnetic field deficiency, because of these chemicals, because of all the challenges going out there, and especially because of dehydration. You guys, you don't know how depressed I was when I found out you had to drink your weight divided by 2 in ounces every day. Here's the before and after images I first took of your products. They just floored me, because you can see the inflammation in the ankle. You can see in the after images 4 hours later that those feet are beautifully symmetrical. There's no inflammation in the ankle. And again, everybody's going to react differently to these magnetics depending on toxicity, hydration, and a lot of different considerations. So when you have people that don't react right away, my first question to anybody that calls me and asks me about NECAN products, they say, I even had people say, "Curtis, I'm buying a wellness home." And they said, "I can hardly wait to wrap myself in the bed and do all those things." And I said, "No magnetics for you." I said, "Get the wellness home." I said, hydration. Hydration, because you need to hydrate yourself, make sure you've got enough fluids in you, because these magnetics are going to stimulate your body and stimulate your cells. And if you don't have the proper hydration, lots of you have run into people that are super sensitive to the magnetics sometimes. This is going to be because of a hydration issue big time. I even got a call a couple weeks ago by an electrical engineer who said, he was on the phone to give me a butt kicking, for my opinion. And when we finished, here was this athletic engineer, 230 pounds, had a 30% heart capacity, and he had a virus attack his heart. And he said, "I just can't even touch the magnetics." He said, sends my body into a crazy mode right away. I said, how much water did you drink? And he said, 30 ounces a day. I said, you're an electrical engineer. I said, you're an electrical engineer. I said, you know where your circuits come from? I said, the water, the conductivity of that water. And he said, after we finished talking, he said, I didn't think about the circuitry issues of that and how important it is. So for me to tell him, you know what, guess what? 115 ounces a day for you, buddy. Prop it up and drink more. You can see this young lady again here is just, what was interesting with this is they just called me because she had a problem with her lower leg and they couldn't see it. They were referring her to a psychiatrist. So for me to be able to just help them out and just give them a second sight showing inflammation in the legs. While I was talking to her about these things, here's what we did. Put her on your mag steps. Those are over the same span of temperature. Can you see the reduction in inflammation, which is simply elevated temperature? Can you see the reduction in inflammation after 17 minutes? Well, you know what? That's just the most wonderful compliment out there to medical professionals out there. These are the things that they're trying to do is reduce inflammation. You guys is a perfect assist to these wonderful professionals. This one you saw here, this is reflex sympathetic dystrophy. This is where they have loss of control of blood and temperature to one appendage because of injury or a problem. And this person here, like I said, they were giving her 8 Tylenol-3 a day. She was just saving them up so she could pill out and kill herself because she said, I've been like this for 16 years and I've had enough. And later on with her arm, what they do is they just chop it off because it's not aesthetically pleasing to see the arms curl up after a while. And for me, she said, you're nice to do this. And I said, I hate to break it to you. I'm not doing this to be nice. I said, I'm experimenting about these crazy magnetic people and I want to try this on you and see what it does. And I can tell you that I'm looking forward to sharing more of this information with medical professionals because after using your products on her, here's this arm that was dying, and for me to go 11 days later and see these hot plumes as the circulation increased into her arm and she was getting feeling that she hadn't had before, just a humbling experience for me and education about your products. Carpal tunnel. Carpal tunnel surgery doesn't fix anything. So what they do is they're dealing with a symptom. What this person did here, and I picked them because they're a pretty cranky insurance agent, they had to have carpal tunnel surgery on both wrists. So here's $1 million loss of production for them because a top producer for their insurance company. Here's the surgery, here's the cost of the surgery, here's the lost wages. I said, I'm trying this magnetic products out. I sent her a Elastomag wrist wrap. And after 10 days, guess what? No more carpal tunnel. $50. $50 worth $1.5 million. I want to tell you guys out there that are in the banking business, that's good business. Now this here, you can see these images here. Top image here, and that, especially on that knuckle there, that's my hand. I got bit by a brown recluse spider. I think that, this is what they did for me is they said, listen, you just want to give these Nikan guys a hard time. Look out because their products are going to be helping you do a lot. So I got bit on this knuckle. The next day, you can see, here's the amount of infection and inflammation the one day after the spider bit me. So I was in Texas at the time that happened. And here's the most wonderful thing about East meeting West. I was with a pharmacist and a chemist at the time, and I said, I'm going to be back in Canada tomorrow. I'll get it taken care of. He said, I'm worried about you losing your hand. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And he said, they're that bad. So we went into a clinic. I got a steroid shot, got an antibiotic. This is exactly what you want to do. As soon as I did that, I was soaking my hand, and again, here's this whole leaf aloe vera process. The guy that has the aloe vera doesn't do what I do, but here you can see my hand swollen up in the top. After I soaked my hand in his product, I took it out of there, put more gauze around there, wrapped it in. I put your mini over top of the bite. And amazing, as soon as I put the mini over top of the bite, I could just feel this biting thing going on right away. I put on your wrist wrap to increase the blood flow to my hand, and I've never had any necrosis of the skin whatsoever. And I had some pretty ugly looking stuff under there for a while, and a doctor offered to lance it, and I said no. I said, I want to see how far I can take this with the Nikan products. So, what do I tell you guys? Between my helicopters and between everything else, and don't forget when I investigated you guys, the last person I worked on was with me. Because my left foot, I broke it several times in diabetic or neuropathy, whatever was going on. Foot was swollen, couldn't feel it. Went to see a doctor that I know, and he said, you want me to tell you the good news? I said, what is it? He said, there isn't any. He said, you got a pulse in there. He said, that's a good thing. I said, what are you guys going to do to fix this? He said, I'll tell you this. He said, what we're going to do is we're going to manage your symptoms until we start chopping some things off. And I said, well, isn't that just a treat? So for me to use your for me to listen to be a guy without his right hand and his left foot, I'm going to be in real trouble flying in a helicopter. So once again, here's your products intervening in my life. This guy here, rheumatoid arthritis, and you can see in the image on the left-hand side. Now, you guys have seen this again, but again, the idea of using this as opposed to something that's going to deal with his symptoms, even the backs of his arms are different temperatures. So for someone to, what I did is I went over there, said, listen, I can't work anymore. I got a Nikan consultant to just use a mag crater. They didn't put on the bed, they just used the mag crater. I just wanted to see the effect on his spine. You can see in the after image, you can see the reduction in inflammation. You can see that the backs of his arms are the same temperature again, same colors. So remarkable to see what a magnetic influence does to a magnetic body. Spinal cord injury. This is before and after on the body energizer. This woman had a spinal cord break, horse stepped on her back, mid-back, so she was freezing from here down all the time. And this is a challenge that they have. And you guys, every time I see somebody in a situation like that, I like hearing these guys, giving you guys a little bit of heck today. And you guys have got an obligation to talk about these things. These people need your help. And the idea that you guys can do this and you're just empowered with the truth. So to do this with the body energizer and warm her feet up, and also because the blood's moving through her to affect her back and her break, and to tell her that pressure sores were getting better as a result of. Here's her back. As a matter of fact, you can see the arrow showing the break. The arrow is showing exactly where the break is. Well, it's amazing when it breaks, the spine is broken, there's no communication system. So your body doesn't know what the heck to do. So right below that break, you see she's cold, and you can see that hot spot there. That's a pump. That's a pump because that's where a pressure sore is. She's got a hole going into her body 3 inches, and then it turns a corner and goes another inch this way. This is what killed Christopher Reeves, is a septic system because of pressure sores. And a cry and shame for me. I tried to get a hold of him several times, and sad to say that, your products would have made all the difference for his life. This again, I brought this because this is Bud, my poodle. Now Bud just turned, he's going to be 20 this year. He's still wearing that headband. Now the thing is, he can't see, and that arthritis is there, but he still tries to dance, and from somebody that was not even walking steps properly. These are creatures in our care, and I've told people with cattle, horses, take your headband, get a couple of them, put them around there, because it is amazing to watch this dog so arthritic he can't walk up a step. We're thinking about it's that time, and put this thing on him here, and now I chase him around the front yard because he's blind and there's a road there, but he runs the best he can. Water, water, water. Now you guys heard Weintraub talked about increasing nerve conduction, 75%. One of the things that I know is he didn't talk about hydration. Now those circuits in your body require water. Now guess what? Conduction requires a good conductor, like copper is a good conductor. Gold is a great conductor. You can't use other things like this, so guess what? When you put water in your body, you need good conductive water. Now people have heard of people drinking distilled water. Heard that before? Distilled water is an insulator. So good luck getting conduction out of an insulator. It's not going to work ever. Bottled water is going to follow the same path. Although with bottled water, I've told people what I would like to see you do with bottled water, as I said, is buy an Aquapore and an optimizer. Take that bottled water, put it through your device, put some minerals and things back into it. And here's the simple proof right here. Here's I think this might have even been somebody in grade 7 that took 3 plant bulbs, and here's bottled water, here's tap water in the middle, and here's pie water on the other side. We're made out of water. Which one would you pick? Your pie water, when you guys are out here looking at these books, pie water has produced 100% more yield than a naturally disease-resistant crop. Here's a difference here. You see the bottom leaf? That's new growth after pie water. So you guys think about hydrating properly and creating an optimum environment for your body to function. And here's how it goes. If you've got a strong immune system, do you know what? You can't get sick. Your body can look after itself. But you think if you're not drinking your weight divided by 2 ounces every day, you've got these chemicals trapped in you, and these are what's causing problems with people. And like I said, when he first told me I had to drink that much, I was depressed. But the Nikan guy educated me very well. He said, can you drink a glass an hour? And I said, I can do that. So sip away. The fact that your products, guess what they do? They absorb more. Here's the proof in the pudding right here. 2 tomatoes, one soaked in tap water, one soaked in pie water. Here's the pie water after 56 days. Those are your cells. More absorbent. Proof is right there. This is the Diabetes Wellness Foundation did this study, and they asked me for imaging related to your products, and do they help? And you guys can go to my website and actually go to the medical page, and you'll see Weintraub, the article that Bob Richards was talking about, and this article there for you, in my opinion, on people using your magnetics. And my opinion is going to make some people cringe, but guess what? It's mine, and you guys, they need to use your products. Here's young Ashley here. This girl here on steroids, a real skin problem. You can see with her hair like this, extreme eczema. Here's Ashley after using your products. And you know what? We just don't need to be giving 1.5-year-old girls steroids. Body burden. This is the big one. 10 randomly picked umbilical cords in the U.S. 10 randomly picked umbilical cords. 100% toxicity ratio. And guess what? Fetuses can't protect themselves because they don't have an immune system. They have no ways of protecting themselves. My medical professionals say this: they will be in a 911 crisis from conception. And amazing for us to sit back and represent the applicability of your products in that mom, having her hydrate properly and more, because here's this living unit inside of her, and she needs to just look after that. And you guys, your products are just very important for that, for all those people, because those pesticides, everything we're talking about, you know, at the end of the day for me, when they say, where do you think all this is going to end? And I said, this is going to be a very sad story. And I said, and you know, you can be Bill Gates and you can be anybody in the world with absolutely trillions of dollars. There's nothing that's going to protect you from these things. So your products are applicable to everybody and every human being and animal in the world. This is a time-lapse video, 115 minutes of your products, 1 hour and 15 minutes in 2 minutes.
The movie clip you're about to see is a time-lapsed video of the application of Niken Mag Strides, and to see whether there would be any physiological changes with the application of this product. Significance of putting a magnetic product on your feet can't be overstated, so long as it's, the design is done properly and you've got a low Gauss magnetic field as well as uniformity of the magnetic field throughout that product, which surprisingly, you know, this company had available, and it just is superior engineering.